Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Working towards the weekend. Last hour for us here. Have Andrew Hutchinson, Best of Arkansas Sports, coming up in 30 minutes talking LSU and Arkansas. If you missed this earlier, that game was scheduled for a 7:30 tip-off at Bud Walton Arena tomorrow night. It will be at 4 o'clock instead. They moved it up 3.5 hours, trying to get LSU into Northwest Arkansas and out of Northwest Arkansas before that precipitation and freeze makes it really difficult on them logistically. So that's the plan. There have been a lot of moves in SEC basketball games. A&M moved their game. I know there's been a significant amount of activity trying to get these games in. I thought there was an outside possibility that they might say, hey, we're going to – these games that are obviously going to be affected, we'll just play those before everybody shows up at the SEC tournament, but that's not the most equitable way to do things, to take a home game away from some teams. So they're going to do it the best way they can, move things up a little bit. Hopefully LSU can get out after the game tomorrow. We'll talk about it with Andrew Hutchinson coming up in 30 minutes. Jay Johnson met with the media earlier today, and he talked for like an hour, almost an hour. It's like 45 minutes of baseball talk. And I'm not going to play any sound. That we didn't have time to get that cut up. He finished up right, bumping up against our show. But I was taking notes pretty vigorously to get a story written for LouisianaSports.net, which I did on William Schmidt and Maverick Rizzi. And I just want to hit some high points of things that he had to say. There was nothing newsworthy that he said. No injury he revealed or starting position he revealed, or there was nothing newsy. He just kind of talked about some of the players and some of the things that they're working on currently, and I thought some of it was very interesting. I'll start with Maverick Rizzi and William Schmidt, though, because I wrote about them at LouisianaSports.net. You can read that story for free on the homepage right now. Those two guys are going to be vital to what LSU turns into in 2026. I can't tell you where that role is. I can tell you what their ceiling is, but I don't know ultimately what they fall into. I know right now, if they had to go play a weekend this weekend, it's Friday right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend, they could get by without those guys. Casey Evans could start game 1. Cooper Moore could start game 2. They could go to Cooper Williams in game 3. If they needed to get a save today, they could go to Zach Cowan, who's proven he could do that. They've got options. Devin Sheeran is a fireballing, tall right-hander that profiles similarly to Rizzi. They've got him. They've got options. So I say that not to disparage William Schmidt or Maverick Rizzi at all, but to suggest they're not going to be put into a position by force. They will earn their spot on this team. And what spot they earn, I think, is going to be indicative of just how good LSU is. I said this in the fall. I said this in December. And I'll say it again now, and you'll probably hear me say it in February and March. The ceiling on William Schmidt is significantly higher than Cooper Moore or Zach Cowan. It's significantly higher than Cooper Williams. Some of the other options in LSU's rotation, the ceiling for William Schmidt is way higher. Why is it higher? Because William Schmidt hit 99 miles an hour in the fall. William Schmidt's spin rate on his slider is as high as anybody in the Southeastern Conference. There's a reason at Catholic that teams looked at him and said we could potentially spend a first-round pick on this pitcher. And it was not because he was a proven SEC ace. You can't be when you're a senior in high school. It's the stuff. And you look at some of the outings that William Schmidt had last year. At Nichols, 4 innings, no hits, 8 strikeouts. He faced a North Dakota State team that made the regional, 3 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts. It flashed. It's not unlike Cade Anderson at Southeastern as a freshman, at Rice as a freshman. But not unlike Cade Anderson, when given an opportunity in SEC play, William Schmidt did not perform well. Look at the stat line. 2 innings, 11 walks. There's improvement that has to be made. And Jay Johnson talked today about the fact that William Schmidt probably at Catholic, while he was dominating kids, didn't think about his midweek bullpen being significant, didn't think about the post-start lift being significant. Because you can just overwhelm people. This is Jay Johnson's words, not me. But he said, like, he got to sit back and learn. He got to understand why all that stuff is important. And you're seeing a different guy this year. Jay talked about his outing Schmitz yesterday on Thursday of this week. Said it was great. Said last week's was great. And he's optimistic about William Schmidt could be this year. No doubt. And his ascent to potentially a number 2 starter, potentially an ace, quite frankly, would be massive. But he's got to be better than he was last year. And he knows that. He spent the offseason not pitching on Cape Cod, not pitching in the Northwoods League, not resting. He went and worked over the summer on being better. And the returns looked pretty good in the fall and apparently the last 2 weeks. I haven't seen the last 2 weeks, but apparently are pretty good. And Jay Johnson said he's going to be a huge part of what LSU does this year. That's a direct quote. Then Maverick Rizzi, same type of deal. Rizzi had his ups last year. You're talking about a guy who, as a true freshman, led the team in appearances. He pitched 3 times in the NCAA tournament, did not allow a run in any of those 3 appearances. And I didn't realize this until I went back and looked at the stats. Maverick Rizzi did not allow a home run in 24 2/3 innings last year. That's impressive. But on the flip side, when Maverick Rizzi went into SEC play, his ERA was 7. He threw 9 innings of SEC ball, so that's pretty easy. It's one game. He threw 9 innings of SEC ball. He gave up 12 hits and 9 walks. That's 21 base runners in 9 innings. So he didn't factor in heavily down the stretch as a guy they could trust. And everyone's going to draw comparisons. For Schmidt, it's to Cade Anderson, highly touted Louisiana kid, draft risk, goes to LSU, midweek guy as a freshman, blossoms into an All-American, National Pitcher of the Year, most outstanding player in the College World Series as a sophomore. That's a comparison that people are going to make, whether or not it comes true. Anderson and Schmidt have a similar pedigree. And for Rizzi, the comparison's immediately going to be Chase Shores. 6'8", 6'9", 98-mile-an-hour fastball. What do you got? And Chase Shores struggled more than half of last year and then became LSU's ace reliever. And people will look at Rizzi and go, okay, well, that should be you. And Jay Johnson talked today about Rizzi and said, look, this is a guy that has worked on his body in the offseason. Koki Riley from The Advocate asked about Rizzi's delivery. I didn't go out to the scrimmage yesterday. Koki did. He noticed something. He asked Jay Johnson about it. He said, were you out here yesterday? Yeah, he streamlined his delivery. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't speak to it. But Jay Johnson talked about it, said, yeah, he's throwing more strikes. It's more repeatable, and he's doing everything right. And if William Schmidt is your number 2 starter and Maverick Rizzi is your closer, you've gotten closer to the ceiling of the 2026 LSU team. There are other options. LSU can win the SEC and win a regional and go to Omaha and compete for whatever they want if William Schmidt and Maverick Rizzi are the same guys they were last year, because they've got that much depth where someone else will step up. Like, it can happen. But the guy that steps up is probably not going to be as talented as those two. So you've got an insurance policy, and like I said to start this segment off, you're not asking him to do something immediately now or the team buckles. And that can happen a lot of different places. Not at LSU when Jay Johnson puts the roster together. But their talent level is such that they're the quickest ticket to an elite pitching staff because of their stuff. Both can throw 98. Both can spin the ball. Both have a year under their belt. And like I've written and said, sophomores are veterans in college baseball. Cade Anderson, 2 years. Derek Curiel, 2 years. Griffin Herring, 2 years. Like going back sometime, like Kevin Gaussman, 2 years. That's all you get. So you should be ready to go when you're a sophomore. And I don't have a projection or prediction for you today, just an assertion that is backed up with what Jay Johnson had to say. And he said he was confident and he knew those two guys would be big pieces of what LSU is trying to do this year. And I think they are vital to what LSU is trying to get accomplished. You want the direct quotes, you can read about them at LouisianaSports.net. I've got a piece up on the front page right now talking about Schmidt and Rizzi, and I think they're just massive to what LSU is trying to do. I'll hit some other news and notes on LSU baseball. We'll get to LSU Arkansas hoops coming up in 15 minutes.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Make the short drive. Now, this weekend may not be the best weekend to do so. Tomorrow's going to be okay, so you can head on up there. But early next week, like I just got an email, my kid's school's going to be closed on Monday. So that's where we are there. That doesn't mean you can't car shop. Go to FabryChevrolet.com. The entire inventory is there at FabryChevrolet.com. So if you're looking for an SUV early in 2026, you want a Chevy Tahoe, you want a Chevy Suburban, you want a GMC Yukon, GMC Denali, go check out what they've got online. You can see pictures of the vehicles. You can see the great deals that they've got, all the features, bells and whistles, the pricing. It's all there at FabryChevrolet.com. And when it becomes that time, you want to take that short drive to St. Francisville, up there to Highway 61, you're going to have an unbelievable buying experience with the folks at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You know that because they've been at it for 35 years in this town. 3 different locations, 5 different brands. So proud to have Chevy and GMC under the Fabry family umbrella up there in St. Francisville on Highway 61. Check them out online at FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. The recipe brought to you right here from the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. Delicious jumbo fried shrimp, crispy, clean catfish, shoestring fries. They got it all over there at Corks. Drive on through Government between Foster and Jefferson, bringing you our Friday shows each and every week. All right, that was a deep dive on Schmidt and Rizzi. Some more just kind of news and notes that are a little bit more quick to move through. So the defense on the infield is something that Jay Johnson has taken a very close eye at. Trent Caraway's done a great job at third base, Oregon State transfer. Stephen Milum's as good a defensive shortstop as there is in college baseball. Then you look at second base, and they've really been impressed with what Seth Dardar has brought to the fold here. Jay Johnson told the story that Dardar committed to LSU during the NCAA tournament. Kansas State had been eliminated in regional play, and he was in the transfer portal, and he was a Louisiana kid. He just wanted to go to LSU. That was really the only reason he was in the portal, was to go to LSU, and LSU called, and he committed. And Jay Johnson said, look, I know you can hit. You hit a home run off Cade Anderson. You hit a double that should have won the game off of Kason Evans. I know you can hit, but can you play defense? Work at it. And they put a plan together, and Seth Dardar went to work and has done a really nice job defensively at second base. I talked to you yesterday about Tanner Reeves defensively. I saw him on Wednesday of this week, and he mishandled a couple of balls in the infield, and that's something that plagued him last year. Braden Simpson is playing some first base. He's also played a little bit of third and second base. They've got to find a quality defender because it's a non-negotiable in LSU's program. You simply must be able to defend to play on the infield at LSU, and that's something that Seth Dardar's taken to heart. He has played some first base. He's played some third base. He's playing well at second base. So that's something that Jay Johnson feels good about. Cade Arambidi is the guy that I want to talk about. Jay Johnson said today that what he told Cade Arambidi and what he thought about for Cade Arambidi when he brought him into college was that eventually Cade Arambidi would be the best player in the program. That's what he thought. He thought that Cade Arambidi was the best high school catcher to reach campus last year. that they didn't need to rush him the way that Luis Hernandez was playing, that he got to play some in the midweek. He caught a couple of SEC games. By the end of the regular season, he was catching a lot of Anthony Hines starts. LSU was winning a lot of those games. And Cade Arambidi got his feet wet. Was it awesome all the time? No. Was he overmatched at times offensively? Maybe. But he got better defensively. He had some big swings, especially in midweek games, drove the ball out of the ballpark, hit some doubles. But the tools are something I tell you about all the time. I don't recall a toolsier LSU catcher that has gotten to campus than Cade Arambidi. And you're seeing some of that now. He led the team in hitting in the fall, and Jay Johnson said, he is one of the best players in our program right now, and that's a guy that they're very excited for the next 2 years to be manning the backstop. So he looks really good. The term that Jay Johnson used today was the game looks incredibly slow for him, which is a great, great sign for a freshman because the game looks really fast to freshmen, especially catchers. Tell you that every year. Talked about it yesterday with Omar Cerna. Talked about it last year with Cade Arambidi trying to catch these guys. He was doing a great job yesterday, or Wednesday, I guess I should say. That's not always the easiest adjustment. So great for Cade Arambidi the way that he's doing things. Gavin Guidry's name got brought up. Jay talked about how tough it must have been last year for Gavin Guidry in the year that was supposed to kind of be his year, right? Your junior year, third year. It's tough to be your year when you threw the last pitch for the national championship game. But he'd been such a key piece to what LSU did in 23 and 24. But now you kind of maybe get a bigger role in 25, and he was being looked at as a potential starter in the fall and preseason. Then he got hurt. And Jay Johnson said he was always on the top step of the dugout next to Jamie Tutko and Jay, always encouraging his team, always involved, and handled huge adversity really, really well. He pitched yesterday in an inter squad, apparently looked really good through a couple of innings, and they're going to need him a lot. And that goes back to what I was talking about with Smith and Rizzi. If they need Zach Cowan and Gavin Guidry to close the first 2 games of the season, they can do that. You don't have to send Rizzi out there to be that guy. You don't have to send Schmidt out there to be that guy. Guidry gives them that confidence, and he's been a great clubhouse guy for this team already. I want to continue to go through my notes here. What was next on the list? Cooper Moore, guy I want to talk about. Jay Johnson talked about Cooper Moore. Jay Johnson said he's going to be at the front of this thing. He's a guy that's going to throw a ton of innings. I was told in December that very clearly the first 2 guys in the rotation at that point were Kason Evans and Cooper Moore. They were the 2. Then you've got Cooper Williams, you got Cowan, you got Schmidt, you got some other guys down the line that potentially could jump into that. Marcos Paz was great yesterday throwing the ball. He's an immense talent. There are options, but that Kason Evans, Cooper Moore were 1 and 2. And Jay Johnson reiterated that today when he said he's going to be at the front end of this thing. So I would fully expect right now, as Jay said today, it's a lifetime between now and opening day, a lifetime of baseball. You got 2 weeks to iron everything out. But as of today, I would be stunned if Kason Evans doesn't pitch the first game and Cooper Moore doesn't pitch the second game. I think that's very likely. Could change. Could absolutely change. And I know that LSU feels really good about the possibility of Cooper Moore being a Sunday guy. They think his stuff, his pitching style, lots of strikes, veteran, innings eater, that would give him an advantage in game 3s over a lot of teams in the SEC. But right now, I think he's probably the Saturday guy. And that goes back to the last segment where I was talking about William Schmidt, and if he can move up and be your Saturday guy behind Evans, that just makes you all the more dynamic. You go Evans, Schmidt, Moore. You're better than most teams on Friday. You're better than most teams on Saturday. You're better than most teams on Sunday. That's the goal. Now, I've been doing this a fairly long time now. I've been covering LSU baseball since 2011. That's a fairly long time. 15 years, fair to say. It feels weird for me to say I've been doing something a long time, but I think it's reasonable to suggest now. They rarely get 3 guys that line up and do that 10 weeks in a row. It just rarely happens. Last year, Chase Shores was in the mix. 23, Riley Cooper was in the mix. You had Thatcher Hurd ping-ponging back and forth in 24. It rarely happens where you find a 1, a 2, and a 3. You build depth. When the postseason comes around, you just get outs where you can get them. But if they can get a 3, that really helps. And that's the shortest path 2 or 3, I think. So we'll see if that happens. Then the last thing, talking about Curiel moving to center field, this is not a demotion for Chris Stanfield. It's not even really a promotion for Derek Curiel. The thought process last year was, hey, we got Curiel here. He's a big talent. In the fall, it's very obvious the way he's swinging the bat, he's going to play, okay? So you understand he's going to play LSU, high expectations, big games, and he's going to be out there early and often. And he's probably going to hit in the top 4 or 5 in the lineup. So how can we make this easier for Derek Curiel? Well, we can put him in left field instead of center, lessen his defensive responsibility, allow someone else to be the alpha in the outfield, and him just to make the plays that are hit to him. Maybe that lessens his load a little bit. Jay Johnson compared it to playing Stephen Milam at second base while Braswell was the shortstop in 2024 because it just is an easier position to play. Milam's going to be out there. He's going to have to hit. Like, let's just let him play second. And then the next year as a sophomore, you put the defensive assignment on his plate, and he's ready to go. And Chris Stanfield didn't bat an eye at this. Chris Stanfield's going to play left field. I was out there on Wednesday. Chris Stanfield got 2 hits. I saw him hit twice, got 2 hits. He's going to be fine. But Curiel is going to be a Tiger for 1 more year. He's a draft-eligible sophomore, and he will be a first-round pick as a center fielder. And it's just better for him if scouts and organizations have seen him play center field. So they're going to go let him play center field. I don't think you're weakened at all in center. As Jay Johnson put it today, Derek Curiel is a center fielder. He was recruited to LSU as a center fielder. They just made his life a little easier as a freshman and let him play left field. So he's going to play center. Curiel goes to left. Brown and right. And as Jay Johnson said today, I've got 3 center fielders in the outfield, and they're all way better than they were 2 years ago. So should be a good defensive outfield. No demotions of any kind. No hard feelings of any kind. These guys shared an outfield last year in Omaha. They'll do it again this year. And they just want to do what's best to win. And for Derek Curiel, you get a chance to make a few extra bucks because you prove you can play center field. That works too. So not anything of significant note there. As I mentioned, no like breaking news today. I'll write some more about Cooper Moore. I'll practice some more. I'll write some more about this freshman class, fill in some roles on LouisianaSports.net. Going to do a feature on the second base spot and what that's going to look like. So plenty to come on this show and certainly on LouisianaSports.net as well. Lot going on over at the box as they're in the thick of it now in the middle of preseason camp, and they're 3 weeks away from lacing them up and going to play some baseball. So very excited about that. Also excited to tell you about my friends at Lifetime Roofing. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is the website. If you're looking for a lifetime workmanship warranty, how about Lifetime Roofing? Because they give it to you. Started doing that January 1st. You just don't see that very often in the roofing game. They're happy to offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. They're also thrilled to be able to offer financing options for you. A big roof can be a sizable investment. Sometimes you just buy it retail. You're here to pay the full cost. You can do that through financing, 0% up to 18 months. Sometimes you got a sizable deductible. You got a large home, large roof, 2% wind and hail deductible. That's something that can be significant. Well, you can finance that as well. They got a team there to walk you through the process. It's an awesome team. I've sat down with them, seen their gorgeous new facility over there just off College Drive. They are growing. They are a big part of this community, and they love to help people. And a new roof is something they can do to help you. And when they do it, they'll give you that lifetime workmanship warranty. So find them just off Highland Road or check them out at lifetimeroofingla.com. It's lifetimeroofingla.com. All right, LSU and Arkansas scheduled for a 7:30 tip-off tomorrow. Not so. Weather coming in, trying to get LSU out of Fayetteville, so they'll start things up at 4 o'clock from Bud Walton Arena. Andrew Hutchinson, Best of Arkansas Sports, will be there. We'll talk to him about the weather and about the ball game next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. Obviously, pretty pertinent at this point. Do you know what happens if your business loses power because there's a winter event and the power lines buckle and they're down for a week and a half, down for 2 weeks? What happens to your business? Do you know if you're covered? That's an important thing to get taken care of, not after the storm, before it, obviously. So do that now. Hopefully, Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana aren't going to deal with a significant event. We don't know yet, but hopefully not. But don't let the next one catch you off guard. Don't let that next hurricane catch you off guard. Make sure your property policy is written properly. If the only thing you know about your property policy is that it's the cheapest one that you got given to you at renewal, check it. Let the folks at the Howard Insurance Group check out your policy. Get a second pair of eyes on it. That's what they do. They're experts when it comes to coverage. Limits, exclusions, business interruption, deductibles. All these things are variable and can make a big difference to your bottom line of your business. So check out the Howard Insurance Group. Find them online at highlandig.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
We got half an hour to go here. Our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. LSU and Arkansas from Bud Walton Arena. 4 o'clock tomorrow, not 7:30 as originally forecast. Weather moving into northwest Arkansas, so they'll try to get the Tigers on home after LSU and Arkansas lock horns on the hardwood. Covering that one will be Andrew Hutchinson, Best of Arkansas Sports, giving us a little time here on this Friday. You staying warm up there?
I'm trying to. I just checked. I think it feels like 18 degrees outside, so I'm just going to stay inside for now.
That'll work. What do you know about what the next 24 hours hold for northwest Arkansas?
It's not going to be good. I'm sure as people, it would be the same down in Louisiana, but Arkansas does not have the infrastructure to handle the kind of weather we're supposed to get. I was listening to a local meteorologist this morning. I think the projections are in the 8 to 12 plus inches of snow for this area. It's been probably a decade since Arkansas or this area has gotten that much snow. And I've heard there could be some sleet mixed in with which means ice, and that's no good. I think South Arkansas is going to get hammered with ice. So really thinking about the folks down there. But I think up here we're going to avoid most of that. But it's I'm counting on my kids being out of school Monday and probably Tuesday as well before we're able to dig out of all of it.
Tough. It's a tough question to answer, but how do you think it affects the crowd on Saturday afternoon?
Oh, it's going to impact it for sure.
Okay.
I remember back in 2010, Arkansas hosted Mississippi State for a midweek game right as a storm was moving through. I think it only brought like 6 inches of snow or whatever with some ice on the front end of it. And I was looking back at some old box scores, and it had an official crowd of 4,000. Now, that was obviously a team that was not as good as this team, so people weren't looking for excuses not to go probably. But I would imagine the roads are going to be not exactly easy to navigate because it's supposed to move in, I think, starting tonight around 6 o'clock and really snow heavy overnight. There might be a gap tomorrow, like late morning, early afternoon, where it doesn't snow, where maybe they're able to clear the roads and stuff. But I think it's going to kick right back up. And I think moving it up to 4 o'clock is going to help. But I don't think it's going to be the typical Bud Walton atmosphere that everyone's come to expect.
So last year in year number 1 for John Calipari, you got a Sweet 16 and a heartbreaking finish there against Texas Tech. And they've played some pretty good basketball of late as well. What's the buzz there in Fayetteville about what this team could be?
I think there's buzz that this team could be, right there in contention for the SEC regular season title, something that Arkansas has not won since that 94 national championship season. Kind of crazy to think. And there's expectations for a deep postseason run. I mean, you think back to this time last year, they started the year 0-5 in SEC play. So 4-2 in SEC play sounds pretty good for Arkansas fans. Just one game out of first place right now, a third of the way through the slate. I think there's lots of reason to be excited about this team. I mean, Darius Acuff as a freshman. I mean, I think he's going to end up, being mentioned in the same breath as the John Walls and Derrick Roses of John Calipari past. He is that good, and then you throw in all the other complementary pieces that are on this team as well. There's so much talent, at least with the top 8 that they have constructed their roster. is pretty good. So I think there's high expectations, and so far so good, especially at home. Getting away from home, it gets a little not as good, as we've seen with recent trips to Georgia and Auburn have been blowout losses. But if they can get that figured out, I don't see any reason they can't compete for that SEC regular season title, which comes with a good seed and good position to maybe make some noise in March.
So I want to talk about two things you just mentioned there. Darius Acuff is something we'll get to, but you also mentioned the blowout losses. They've also won in blowout fashions, and like they crushed Vanderbilt. So what is the difference between getting hammered at Georgia and laying the lumber to Vanderbilt?
Well, they got off to just an abysmal start at Georgia. I mean, you look at the final score. I think what they lost by 14 was the final score. Well, they fell behind like 19-3 to start the game. And then I think early in the second half, they fell down by like 20 or so. And it looked like it was going to be an absolute, bloodbath. But then they fought back and they actually tied the game with 4 minutes or so left, something like that. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to pull this off? And then they just ran out of gas and fell apart. But ultimately it came down to that horrible, horrible start. They were making lazy passes. They were not playing defense at all. They couldn't make shots. I mean, that Georgia game, Malik Thomas, the other stud freshman Arkansas has, I think I can't remember what his final line was, but it was like 3 of 17 from the floor, something like that. But I mean, he's a guy that is shooting 50% from three-point range in SEC play, even with that game. So he had an off night that made it even worse. But against Vanderbilt, they came out absolutely on fire. They were doing the opposite of all that stuff. They were playing really hard defense, getting out in transition, running. They were cutting to the basket really hard. I noticed as a major key to their offensive success early. They did not do that. They were not as active against Georgia. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a matter of just not doing it on the road. I think Cal has speculated maybe they get lackadaisical after big wins because that was coming off the big win over South Carolina midweek. They blew them out by 30 something, and then they obviously they've egged and they refocused. They dominated Vanderbilt. Now it's a matter of can they refocus and bring that energy, especially everything we mentioned about the crowd maybe not being as what it could be against LSU on Saturday.
You mentioned Darius Acuff, and LSU fans, understandably, are not really locked into SEC basketball at the moment. They're wishing for Alec Box Stadium to open its doors pretty quickly here. So they probably are not too familiar. I am, and I've watched him, and he's a star. But tell us what you like about the young freshman's game.
He does it all. He's a scorer. He's averaging just under 20 points a game, but he's also got such great vision. It was weird the last game against Vanderbilt, as well as Arkansas played, he did not have an assist until there was about 14 minutes left in the second half. Now, he had several in the first half that, could have been assists where, his teammate just didn't finish it. But he makes so many good decisions, rarely makes bad decisions, except for that Georgia game. He made some really head-scratching decisions, but he just takes care of the ball. He can go get a bucket. He can go drive to the basket and finish. He's got a really good mid-range game, and he's also a really good three-point shooter as well. I'm looking at stats here. He's shooting 41% from deep on the season, and he gets to the free throw line too. He's got 82 free throw attempts. I think that's tops on the team. Yeah, so he does it all, and he plays really good defense as well. Can really get after the opposing team's point guard as well. He just looks like a kind of what you expect out of a John Calipari point guard. He's had so many good ones over the years. He's going to end up right there, up there with those guys.
The winner of every Arkansas SEC game has topped 85 points, whether it's the Hogs or their opponent twice. I realize that says a lot about your offense. What about Arkansas defensively?
That's probably the biggest question mark with this team right now. They're definitely more of an offensive-oriented team. They can get up and down the floor. Usually, their best offense is their defense when they're able to get out in transition. But the defense has had some hiccups where they have not been able to stop teams, particularly that Georgia game and the Auburn game. So that's probably the biggest question mark. I think they're sitting around like number 48 on Ken Pom and adjusted defensive efficiency. It's fluctuated. Earlier in the season, it was right around like 40 or so. Then it dropped down, I think, as low as like 73, like, a couple of weeks ago. So it's a little bit up and down. It's not as consistent as the offense has seemed to be this year. So that's probably the biggest concern about this team. If the defense, they're the road woes, but then also the lackadaisical defense at times.
Well, Andrew, y'all stay as warm as possible. Stay safe up there in Northwest Arkansas. No LSU Arkansas in baseball this year, but the Hogs do come to Baton Rouge for basketball a little bit later, so we'll run you down a little bit down the road. Thanks, man.
Sounds good. Anytime.
Andrew Hutchinson, best of Arkansas Sports, giving us a little LSU Arkansas preview. I wanted to get a thought on the weather there. It sounds brutal, and I'm interested to hear that they're not set up to handle big snowfall in Arkansas. I guess if it only happens once every 10 years, but that seems pretty far north. Like they're right next to Missouri up there in Fayetteville. They're right next to like Kansas and Nebraska. They get snow all the time up there, so I'm curious about that. This is a bad matchup for LSU tomorrow. LSU really struggles on the perimeter defensively, keeping teams out of the lane, and John Calipari offenses are purely built to space the floor and beat you off the bounce, and they've got guys that can do it. His point guard, Acuff, is a superstar. He is phenomenal. If you watch the game tomorrow at 4 o'clock, you'll notice quickly. He will be in the NBA quickly. He will be making plays in the NBA quickly. He shoots it well. He handles it extremely well. He finishes well at the rim. He's 6'3". He's the whole package as a college point guard. I'm not going to put him in the NBA All-Star game just yet, but in the SEC, he's as good as they come handling it. And LSU's got Deon Thomas back now, and how much he plays, we'll just have to see. But Arkansas is going to score a ton of points, and LSU's just the only way LSU stays in this game is if they go out there and score 90. And they've looked good at times on offense. You get the SMU offense that you played, okay. You get the first half offense you saw at times against Missouri, okay. You get Max McKinnon's 7 threes that we saw a couple times in the non-conference, okay. If Thomas is good enough to go get you 20 points and 11 assists, which he's capable of healthy, okay, we'll talk about it. But I don't anticipate LSU hanging in this one too long. The only thing you're catching on a break here is that Arkansas may have that place half full because of the weather so bad. So we'll see. I don't like the matchup. There is a manageable week to come for LSU. Next week, you've got Mississippi State at home and a trip to South Carolina. Those two teams are not good. So next week, on Monday and Tuesday, you will hear me say LSU must go 2-0 this week. They're not going to win on Saturday. If they do, I will sit right in this chair on Monday and tell you I was wrong, and I'm pumped. But they're not winning on Saturday. So we'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Ochsner's Eat Fit Alcohol-Free 440 Challenge. Looking for a fresh start? How about the Eat Fit Alcohol-Free Challenge? 40-day reset. Help you sleep better, boost your energy, make you feel your best. It's not about giving anything up forever. That's not what they're asking you to do. But how about just giving yourself a break, let yourself recharge a little bit? You can actually see the changes your body makes because they're going to give you access to pre- and post-challenge metrics like body composition, blood pressure, and some optional labs. People that have done this have reported clearer skin, better focus, brighter mood, better sleep, and often that happens within the first couple of weeks. So if you're looking to register, you can do so at alcoholfreefor40.com. You can also do it at home, but check them out online at alcoholfreefor40.com. That's the number 40, alcoholfreefor40.com. Thanks to our friends at Ochsner.
Step into luxury at the Watermark Hotel, downtown Baton Rouge's premier full-service destination. Housed in the historic Louisiana National Bank building, the Watermark blends timeless elegance with modern sophistication. Whether you're planning a weekend getaway or hosting wedding guests, we specialize in creating unforgettable experiences. Visit watermarkbr.com to book your escape today. The Watermark Hotel, where history meets luxury.
Hey, Eddie Kennison here. As a former Tiger and pro athlete, strength, energy, and performance are still important to me. That's why when I felt my strength slipping, I turned to Rejuvamine Medical. Check your testosterone today at rejuvaminemedical.com. That's REJUVIME medical.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Big shout out to our friends at Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Crispy fried catfish, jumbo Gulf shrimp, those shoestring fries. Great stuff. All the sauces your heart could desire. They got your classics, the tartar sauce, the cocktail sauce, but the cork sauce is the best. Get that on that fried shrimp. It's awesome. I want to put it on your po' boy as well. Get those fully dressed. If you're looking for a great po' boy in town, go check out Corks, government between Foster and Jefferson. Online, corksfishandshrimp.com. All right, Braxton Rizzuto's back there on the ones and twos. Let's see if he can handle it. We got some take it or leave it. Good start.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it or leave it.
How are we feeling back there, Braxton?
Pretty good,
All
I'd
right,
say.
let's get it done. We got 4 minutes left in the show. We can make it.
All right, so first we got former NFL quarterback Phillip Rivers is interviewing for the Buffalo Bills head coaching vacancy on Friday, according to Adam Schefter. While Rivers has no NFL or collegiate coaching experience, he is the current head coach, however, at St. Michael Catholic High School in Fairhope, Alabama. Is Rivers actually landing a coaching gig? Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I mean, if they think that firing Sean McDermott to hire Phillip Rivers is the best idea, like, I just have a hard time with that. Going from Fairhope 1A high school, wherever that is, to trying to beat Lamar Jackson, trying to beat Drake May, just that doesn't seem like the organization taking a step forward. I could be wrong. There have been NBA guys that have stepped right off the sideline right off the court onto the sideline and been great. That doesn't feel like a great idea to me. But what do I know?
I agree. All right, so 2, we got every time there is a new pope selected, the Seahawks have gone to the Super Bowl. That's happened for the past 2 popes. We just got a new pope, not sure his name, and the Seahawks are 1 away from going to the Super Bowl. You putting money on the Seahawks to reach the Super Bowl, maybe even win it all. Take it or leave it.
I'm not going to put any money on it. I'll leave it. I believe that Pope Leo is what we're looking for there. Chicago's own. I'm not a big fan of the new Pope. That has nothing to do with his thoughts on the Catholic faith or how great a man he is. He just grew up in Chicago, and he doesn't like the Cubs, and he likes the White Sox. And to me, that's bad judgment. That shows lack of intellectual ability. So I'm not a big fan of this new Pope. However, this trend is impressive, and if that's the case, some things just defy common sense and statistics. Like if the Seahawks do that the 3rd straight time, coincidentally, a Pope died. It's just crazy to me that the LSU has played in 4 championship games since 2003. And they've all been in New Orleans. That statistically is an impossibility almost.
I mean, yeah, those are some weird coincidences. I mean, Taylor told me that one, so you can talk to him about that.
I probably won't, but,
All right, let's see. Last one. The current freshman class in college basketball is looking to be one of the best freshman classes ever, featuring star guard out of Kansas, Darren Peterson. Recent word about Darren is that he may be the most polished freshman guard ever. Currently, he's averaging 22 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 42% from 3, and 50% field goal percentage.
Pretty
Take
good.
it or leave it.
I'll take it. That's pretty good. I mean, Bill Self gets some good players up there at Kansas.
Take it.
There are some really good freshmen. I'm looking back there at Jordan, who doesn't have a microphone in front of him, but which of these freshmen are the Pels going to draft for their first-round pick?
Nobody.
You going to grab one there at the top? I mean, your record's not very good, so you should be able to get one at the top of the draft, right?
Well, if we get rid of Zion Williamson before February 5th, we actually got some hope.
All right.
So that's
February
my plan.
5th. That's by my count, you got 7, and then you got 8. Yeah,
It's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Get
All
Zion
right.
out of here.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think anybody's trading for him. No first-round pick for the Pels. Best draft in decades. Pels got nothing. That's great. Got Derek Queen. He's pretty good. Got nothing else. Got a bad record. That's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Friday. For those, a little housekeeping for those who are checking in here. LSU and Arkansas moved from 7:30 tomorrow night to 4 o'clock from Fayetteville. You can listen to that on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Pre-game will be at 3:30. Chris Blair and John Brady on the call. So looking forward to that and seeing how it all shakes out. I said in the last segment, I don't anticipate much from LSU. I told you 2 weeks ago they were going to lose both games this week, and they are. They got to go 2-0 next week, so we'll talk about that when that time does come. I talked a lot about LSU's baseball team today. Did that at the end of hour number 1. Did that at the beginning of hour number 2 for the first 2 segments. So about 40 minutes of some baseball talk. If that's what you're looking for, you can go find that on demand at the Hunt Palmer Show, wherever you find your podcasts, currently on YouTube as well. Our full shows are archived every single day. So if you're looking for a baseball fix, you can find that there at the Hunt Palmer Show. Opened the show today talking about LSU's wide receiver situation, I just never seen anything quite like this. They had one left. They signed 9 out of the portal, 3 out of high school. That brings the total to 13. And I just think it's a fascinating group. And there's one guy that I wrote about at LouisianaSports.net today, and Tyree Holloway, that I'm just fascinated by as well. So if you want that and all your LSU football content, you can find that at Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Not a lot going on in Saints land right now, so no Saints coverage today, but always invite you all to check out that YouTube channel, Hunt on Saints. Weather's going to turn at some point this weekend. My kid's already out of school on Monday. So for everybody out there that is traveling, that does have plans this weekend, be safe, be careful, stay warm. We don't get a lot of these situations down here, and hopefully everything kind of drifts north of us. That's certainly what we're hoping here. But we'll be back Monday for another edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Matt is going to drive you home next on After Further Review. Again, everybody, safe and happy weekend. Hopefully the Tigers get something done in Fayetteville, and we'll see you Monday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.